Welcome to the Lechtich Parsha podcast, where we delve into the Torah's timeless wisdom and uncover uplifting and empowering lessons tailored to the challenges of our generation.
Agudin Shabbos Parshas Tazria Tovshin Pehei. This week's shir is sponsored by Moshe and Yocheved Klein of Lake, New Jersey. Thank you very much. There was once a person who came to the Chafetz Chaim and asked the following question. He said, Rebbe, I don't understand. We know the concept of tzaddik, v'rali, rosh of the tovlai. Why do good things happen to bad people? Bad things happen to good people. I just don't understand. And especially take a look at the world at large. You see that there's so many prosperous, successful goyim, and halu davarhu, it doesn't really make sense. We have yidden that dedicate their lives to Torah, to avodah, to personal growth. So how could it be, highlighting this idea of tzaddik v'rali? I just don't understand. Rebbe, maybe you can give me some advice, some perspective. How do I understand this? And the Chafetz Chaim replied with the following mashal. There were once two fellows going on a hike. It was in the dead of the winter, freezing cold, and they wanted to get out, enjoy the outdoors. And unfortunately, they encountered a blizzard, unforeseen, no news forecast told them about it, and they were buried literally in mountains of snow. Somehow, miraculously, they were found. The search and rescue team came looking for them. They found them. They were both basically DOA. But the rescue team, Hatzala, whatever it was, they decided, you know what, we're going to try our best. We're going to try to see if there's anything to do. And they start resuscitating and doing compressions. And they're both basically unconscious. They put them into the ambulance, rushed them to the hospital. They get to the hospital. One man, they were able to get him back to life, and the other, unfortunately, that was his fate. He passed away. The families came to the hospital. They weren't identified. The families didn't know which one was going to, they knew the names of the families. The respective families came to find out which one was their husband or father that was going to be alive, which one was not alive. And obviously the family that encountered this tremendous surprise of happiness and joy. They were so happy to see their father, their husband, he was alive, and the miracle was just incredible. But obviously for the other family, it was very tragic, very painful. And they went to the staff, they went to the CEO of the hospital. They said, like, what happened over here? Why did you neglect our husband, our father? Why did you let him go? This is the other man you were able to save, and our husband, our father, you just let him go? We want to sue you, we want to take legal action. This is just unjust. What's going on? And the hospital staff, the team replied as follows. Said, ma'am, please understand. When the two patients came to the hospital, there was something drastically different between them. He said, you see, your husband, when he came, he was completely frozen. He was in icicles, he was unconscious, he was blue, there was absolutely nothing to do. He said, the other man, the man that was saved, he said, although he's in the same state, he said there was some movement. It wasn't a DOA absolute. We saw there was some hope amidst all the icicles and the blue skin tone. And he looked as if he was dead. But we saw he was moving, there was some movement, there were some signs of life. And so we dedicated our entire team, our staff, to save him, because we knew he was one that had chance, one that life was still a possibility. Says the Chafetz Chaim, the same thing is with Yidden, with Goyim, tzaddik, v'rali, rosh of the tovlai. Yes, we don't understand, but there's a drastic difference between us Yidden and Goyim, and why they seem to be prosperous and successful, and sometimes we see Heilig Yidden who dedicate their lives to Torah, and sometimes they're not. And he said the answer is that Goyim are frozen solid. Hashem puts them on the side, they're not the Am HaNivchar, and Hashem says, do what you want, have fun, dance around, play around, enjoy yourselves. You're not in for the next world. You're not in it to win it. So just go, do what you got to do. Frozen solid, Hashem's not investing in them. But Yidden is different. Yidden, Hashem says, I need you to grow, I need to challenge you, and sometimes, unfortunately, I need you to encounter difficulties, pain, sorrow. Look around, there's no shortage of that. Rahman al-Itzlan. But the point is that we're fighting. The point is that Hashem is investing in us because He knows the growth and the levels that we can attain, that we can achieve, and that we can become. And we're just like that patient, that although we're both frozen, but there's signs of life, and Hashem's investing into us. And Hashem's like that doctor that's saying, I see potential, I see hope in you, and therefore, I expect you to overcome and arise to the occasion, arise to the challenges, and become the best Yidden you possibly can. In this week's parsha, we encounter the Neged Tzaras. Adam ki or b'saris, se'esis, apachas, v'heres, v'ayav or b'sara, the Neged Tzaras. So what happens, v'huva la koyin, he brings it to the koyin. The Alshech asks a few questions, but most important of them, Adam, the Gemara in Erchin says, is a term used for nobility. When it's an elevated Adam, Adam, chashav azach, chashav a person. Why are we using the phrase Adam when it comes to the Neged Tzaras? He did a negative thing, he slandered his friend, he went against the Torah. Lashon Hara is the worst avla, the worst avera. Why do we use the Lashon Adam? And secondly, the pasuk says, "V'huva el Aaron HaKoyin." Aaron HaKoyin, this person just engaged, he just transgressed such a disgusting avera, so repulsive, an abomination to the Eibishter against the Torah Lashon Hara. You go to the Sefer Chafetz Chaim and you see the myriads of lavin and loisa says that he was over, and assays on and on and on. The list never ends. Why does he go to the Kohen? To the Kohen, go to the Aaron HaKoyin to diagnose this. Go to a doctor, go to some lowlife, and he'll deal with it. He'll look, but why do you bring it to Aaron HaKoyin to diagnose and to give the prognosis and to guide and give directive to this situation? Says the Alshech, the reason is very pashut, because we're dealing with Yidden over here. And this whole situation of Tzaras, while it can be perceived as a punishment, it can be perceived as Hashem's anger. Look, this guy's afflicted, he has these disgusting boils on his hand, on his body. Hashem's reminding us, through the Torah, Hashem says, bring it to Aaron HaKoyin. This is an elevated mission, you're on an elevated mahalach over here, you have to do great things. And even though you seem low and removed and forsaken, you have to go chutz l'machane, you have these boils, no one wants to talk to you, no one wants to look at you. Hashem says, take it to Aaron HaKoyin. Because you're on a mission and you fell, but you're going to get right back up. You can do tshuva. And dafka, take it, not to a low life, not the person who's disconnected. Take it to the highest, take it to Aaron HaKoyin himself. For him to determine, for him to give you the prognosis, for him to inspire you, for him to empower you with realization that you're a Yid, that you're an Adam, and that you can do tshuva, and that Hashem wants you right back. And that's why, says the Alshech, the pasuk says, Adam, you're not a lowlife, you're not a guy, you're Adam, you're on the highest level, even in the dirt, even in the cesspool of Lashon Hara, of Avira, of sulliness. Hashem says, don't forget your value, don't forget your greatness, don't forget, du bist an Adam. You're a great person, you're a high person, you're a neshama ta'ir, it sounds like mal, you're an Adam. And we use the highest Lashon of all references to mankind in this context of Lashon Hara. Sometimes we feel frozen, sometimes we don't understand, sometimes we feel stuck. But in this parsha of Tzaras, when we lay in these words on parsha and we say Adam and we say go to the Kohen Gadol, we are reminded that sometimes when we feel frozen, we're not stuck. There's a term called frozen solid. We're frozen, but we're never solid. The goyim are frozen solid, and Hashem says, go on the back burner, I don't care about you. Don't talk to me. Have your nice time over here, and after 120, after your life, you're not coming to Ziva Shechina, you're not going to be yonik from the divine Shechina HaKadoshah. But you Yidden, I'm giving you these challenges to work on yourselves, to embetter yourselves, to become the greatest you can. You're an Adam, you're the greatest, you're noble, even in the dirt, even in the mud. Pick yourself up, bring it to Aaron HaKoyin, and realize that even when you feel frozen, that's Hashem's way of saying, I'm here to resuscitate you, I'm here to help you, I'm going to work on you. Like that person who's frozen in the mountain, Hashem says, if you're a guy, I'm not going to work on you. Have your fun. But if you're a Yid, I never give up. I always have hope, and I know you're going to turn around. Look around, look at others, look at ourselves, and always remember, frozen but never solid. Frozen, we have questions, we have challenges, we encounter nisonis, but never solid. And we're never solid because Hashem always wants us to work harder, to become greater, and Hashem is always invested in us. Because if He wasn't, He would let us freeze and become solid. The fact that Hashem is investing in us is the greatest reminder how much Hashem loves us. We're never forsaken, we're never forlorn. And even in the mud, even in Tzaras, even in Lashon Hara, Hashem says, Adam. Hashem says, bring it to Aaron HaKoyin, bring it to the top because you're always the greatest, you're always the best. And Hashem always has trust in the greatest we can become. When we work, when we're determined, and with resolution and resolve, we can do anything as long as we do not give up and succumb to becoming frozen salad.
I thank each and every one of you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you a wonderful Shabbos.